Okay, good day to you all. My name is Melvin Mdluli, and I'm the host of the Flavor Forum. And what you're viewing now is episode two. And for episode two, we've got really fantastic guests that are here that are going to shed some light on this very interesting topic that we are about here of looking at the use of indigenous plants, fruits as flavors, as ingredients in food manufacturing. I just want to introduce the guests that we have here today. And the first guest that I want to introduce is Dr. Mulelekwa, who is based at the University of Johannesburg in the Center for Innovative Food Research. He is an esteemed academic and one of the co-directors of the Center for Innovative Research at University of Johannesburg. Our second guest is Madame Victoria. She's the founder of the Risemeletsi Mutlopi Coffee Project, a natural, organic, and decaf coffee, right? And they are based in the Northern Cape in Kuruman, and that's where that project actually is happening. So I'd like to welcome you both and appreciate your presence here and spending time with us.
Thank you for having us, Mr. Melvin. It's a pleasure to share insights with scholars in the area as well as industry experts and personnel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I think what I want to do first is I want to start with Madame Victoria. If you can please just introduce yourself and just your business in terms of what you are busy with, and just tell us a little bit more about this coffee that you are producing, that is decaf, all the way out of Kuruman.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Victoria. I'm a founder of Risemeletsi Mutlopi Coffee Project. My company is a project that is producing a coffee which is made from the roots of Mutlopi tree. In Setswana is Mutlopi, in English is a shepherd tree, in Afrikaans is Wetgatboom. It's mostly found in the field of Northern Cape. So that's why I wanted to start this unique projection, because I'm producing a very, very unique coffee from our field. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And I just want to also just move to Dr. Mulelekwa. If you can just give us like just a like a brief view of what the Center for Innovation does there at UJ, and what you are basically looking to achieve at the center, just so that broadly everyone can have an understanding of what you guys are about.
Thank you for the opportunity again. My name is Tumisi Mulelekwa, as already introduced by Mr. Melvin. Greetings to the audience as well as my co-panelist and the host. So we are based at the University of Johannesburg, localized at the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology. So the name of our center is the Center for Innovative Food Research. And basically the crux or the objective for the center is to develop innovative food products using conventional as well as novel and emerging technologies. So we do intense work on indigenous crops, things like your bambawa nuts, your maula fruits, and other underutilized crops, for a lack of a better word, in our local communities. So the center typically hosts or supervises undergraduate research as well as postgraduate research, from honors all the way to masters. And of course, most of the activities that we do are academically orientated, but we do from time and again have collaboration with industry partners for some startup companies as well as small and medium enterprises, just to provide the scientific know-how in some relevant processes and how to better enhance the projects as well as the products these institutions have. So we, of course, work closely with other international partners. We do have collaborations that span in the Pan-African space as well as broader parts of the world in the global south and the global north. We have collaborators in Europe, we have collaborators in Asia, we have collaborators in Africa, we have collaborators in the United Kingdom, in the United States. So our footprint is slowly getting there. The center is fairly new. I think this will be the second official year as towards the celebration of the center. But within the past year itself, we have done so much work in the field of food science and technology, biotechnology, as well as innovation. We do, of course, welcome collaborations in academia. Collaborations in academia as well are very much welcome. Collaborations in the regulatory and policy stage or phases are also more than welcome. So in a nutshell, that's basically what we work on. Of the projects, just before I close, we have projects that work on the valorization of indigenous food crops using additive manufacturing, or as well as otherwise known as 3D printing. We have colleagues that are working on the use of hemp, on how that can be incorporated in your instant functional foods. We have colleagues that are working on the use of indigenous crops, such as your green bananas, for example, in developing functional and healthy food products. We also have colleagues that are working on value addition of food processing side streams. Anything that is considered waste and has nutritional value as well as phytochemical value. We also have people that are working on that, as well as some projects that do work on biofuels. So that's some of the things that we do in the center. And of course, I'm not alone in the center. Like you mentioned, I'm a co-director. The center is led by Professor Oluwafemi Adebo, also under the leadership of Dr. Koza as well as Dr. Beswa, which serve as well as co-directors in the center. So yeah, that's basically what we do. Thank you.
Okay, what a brilliant lineup. I know a few of the people you've mentioned. The University of Johannesburg, what a prestigious university, and I think you need to really be congratulated for setting up this center, and especially because of the fact that it's got it's skewed its focus towards indigenous and incorporating ideas and projects from all over the world, taking Africa to the world and also accepting the world to Africa, so I think that needs to be celebrated. Thank you so much for that, Doctor. So I just want to find out, because in episode 1 we met with a lady who articulated a difficulty that is faced by most entrepreneurs in the space that are trying to incorporate into mainstream food and the likes, indigenous plants and raw materials part of what you are saying was there's a very steep cost in terms of, the analysis, like laboratory costs, looking at trying to, get analysis done on the contents of some of these ingredients, and just foolproofing the claims around what it becomes like ethnic knowledge. But on the retail or bigger stage, really you need the scientific backing. And I know, Dr. Mlelekwa, in a side discussion that we had, you did mention another center that, or not a center rather, but a affiliated group that basically assists with this. Can you please just share that as well? Because I think that would be very useful to some of the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in our side conversation, most of the activities that we do in the center are academically orientated. It's not to say what the industry does we are not able to do, but as far as accreditation is concerned, for your product to be launched into a commercial space or retail space, you need a special type of accreditation, which unfortunately we cannot offer that at a center at the moment. Maybe with time, we will be able to do that. But at the moment, our laboratories are not accredited for such purposes. They are more for academic settings and academic learnings. So to circumvent the issue of entrepreneurs not being able to have their products in such spaces, entrepreneurs can reach out to initiatives such as your TIA-based initiatives that do have accredited laboratories, agro-processing laboratories that can do that for them. And of course, some discussions will be held between the entrepreneur as well as the TIA personnel, or whatever the case might be. Things like your South African SABS, South African Bureau for Standards, they are able to do that, but it comes at a cost. I'm not sure how much. I'm not able to say the cost, but it does come at a cost to have your product tested and standardized. They can be able to do that for you. Yeah. As far as our center is concerned, we will be able to provide you with the data, but like I mentioned, for commercial purposes, that data will not stand because of the accreditation licenses or standards. Okay. So that's basically where maybe people will call it a good life problem. As time goes, I think the center will be able to offer such services.
Okay. No, thank you so much for that, for clarifying that, and obviously offering that information with regards to TIA laboratories that are able to assist with that, as well as SABS. I know that, Madam Victoria, your product actually has got an SABS stamp on it, and that you have had approval from the SABS. Can you just talk us around that and what exactly you were testing for in your product?
Thank you again. I did only test a coffee, to make coffee. But last year when I attended the BioTrade exhibition, there was another professor from agriculture, and they advised me to test also for juice and for cosmetic. I have to test all around the thing so that I can see whether I must not concentrate only in coffee. So the certificate that I have is only containing only coffee. So I didn't ask them to, because I didn't know that they see that assist me to pay for the funds for testing. So it's only for coffee. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and that's brilliant. I think the coffee industry is a gigantic industry that really there's it's one of the premium products on the shelf that you can get in, let's say, in a normal grocery store, and the coffees are tiered and all of that. But I think what you have come out with a product that is actually caffeine free, which means there's no added process to decaffeinate, to remove the caffeine, but it's actually naturally free from caffeine, which is quite interesting. I mean, I'll tell you why. I am like a member of a church that we basically don't take any thing with caffeine in it, and globally we're about, I think, about what, 18 million of us all over the world, and that's a market in itself. So I found that coffee of yours very, very interesting, and I just want to find out, like, what are where do you want to see the coffee in the next, like, five years? Where are you trying to take it?
As an African, fruit industry is now getting a significant recognition in our country. People start to understand our benefits and effects and our African food. In 5 years, I want to involving with known as recognized globally.
Okay, no, that's a really a great aspiration to have, and I think you've got a unique product, because if you think about what Rooibos has been able to do, and the fact that the Rooibos name has been protected, and through efforts from our government leaders, and actually the local communities that are in the indigenous space of Rooibos are now able to protect that name, so that no counterfeits are able to produce other products and call them by that. So I think the fact that there's now a coffee as well, it really makes it quite interesting. Doc, can you please share any successful case studies, that the center has worked with, that maybe, or any advice in terms of the things the learnings that you have had, in terms of what are the things that entrepreneurs need to look at when it comes to scaling? Because, when you start in doing small batches and that type of stuff, it's kind of, it's a different story to when you now want to scale. I think from an academic perspective, and just your experience having worked with this stuff a little bit, what do you think are the challenges or the things that entrepreneurs need to be cognizant of when it comes to scaling? I'll touch as well on things like natural harvesting being a challenge. Are there any, because I heard you mentioning 3D printing and that type of stuff. I don't know, just your thoughts around that, Doctor.
Well, there's a mouthful to say, but just to share a little bit, basically, of what has been happening in the center. And as far as 3D printing is concerned, I think there's successfully one patent that has been registered for 3D printed foods using indigenous crops. And the product is so good. Like I mentioned, it has only been tested within the confines of an academic setting. But from the data that was gathered, the consumer acceptance of such products was very high, which also poses a big potential for market absorbance. So that's one of the success stories we can say for now. We have worked with some of the upcoming entrepreneurs, but the only limitation that comes with such relationships is the issue of accreditation. Like, I'll keep on emphasizing that. But we have assisted people that have worked in bakery using indigenous crops, as well as some smart technologies. For example, the detection of specific compounds in food that can be detected in food packaging. Those are some of the successes that we have come across as the center. And as far as the challenges or bottlenecks that comes with scale up, things always work nicely when they are on a small scale. And when you try to scale up, then it becomes a big mess. One has to be cognizant of the process implications, because whatever worked on a small scale may not necessarily work on a bigger scale, which also means that the developer or product developer or entrepreneur in this particular case will have to do a number of optimization to get a good product. And not only that, you mentioned something like manual harvesting. So if you are to meet volumes, market volumes, you'll have to have mechanized way of doing that. You cannot just harvest manually, because that by itself will create a bottleneck. So machinery as well as analytical tools to do proper scaling up becomes a stumbling block. Hence, centers like the center we have in our university aims to bridge that gap. External services provided by state-owned enterprises like your TIA becomes very beneficial. Things like your SANAS as well as SABS standards becomes very beneficial. Now, we do understand that all these things require financial muscle, which might be, an impediment for an upcoming entrepreneur. But ultimately, I think with persistence and tenacity, one can eventually get to be on that market scale. So those are some of the considerations entrepreneurs have to have in mind. And lastly, designing products for an intended market use or an intended market need is also very important. It benefits nothing if one designs a brilliant product, but it cannot be absorbed by the market. So a correlation between market needs or consumer needs as well as product design must be married, must speak hand to glove. So that's very, very important. Which I believe most of us, let me just say scientists, we are very, very passionate about the work we do, but ultimately the society needs to benefit from the work that we do as the scientific community, as well as the commercial settings as at large. I think your mic is mute, Mr. Melvin.
Thank you, Doctor. I was going on talking to myself here. Okay. I wanted to just find out, Madame Victoria, like what collaborations or what are you looking out to basically be doing moving forward? And specifically the fact that we've got the Center for Innovative Food with us here, because the idea obviously is that you somewhat benefit from the capabilities that this prestigious center and this prestigious university, the University of Johannesburg, have. But what type of things are you looking to develop collaborations on?
Collaboration. I don't understand your question. With the university or internationally?
Yeah, so internationally or any type of collaborations, any type of collaborations, like internationally, or what are you looking to do to further your business in terms of where you are now and how you're trying to get to that international stage in 5 years that you spoke about? Like, what are the things in between that maybe you are looking to collaborate on with institutions and other parties?
Partnership needed, especially coffee. We are roasting and we wanted to train skills by elevating the final quality and consistency, and also cultural knowledge to experience and to know what Africa's flavor and ingredients we can offer. The more international know about us is the more we can have great opportunity to change economical status. I don't know whether
Okay.
it's the answer
Yes.
that.
No, that is well understood. And I think that's quite important, that training part. I don't know, doctor, on your side, is that something that maybe do you ever host, you know, maybe the center, open up the center or ever, or host maybe, trainings or whatever, something of that nature that maybe can then be announced, and people can come and learn and ask questions, ask the academics who have all the answers questions. Is that something that happens? Oh, sorry, now your mic's on, doc.
Yes, my
Your
mic
mic's
was
on mute.
mute. So sorry about that.
Okay.
Not at the moment, but it's something we are working on in the pipeline. We do, of course, we have an open door policy. Whoever needs assistance, if we are able to offer that assistance, is more than welcome to reach out to us. At the moment, the only thing that we are hosting on a regular basis is to celebrate the World Food Day, which whenever the date comes, we invite industry people, academic people, regulatory space people, as well as academia to join into the discussions. Something more similar to what your institution is doing. But I think going forward, we'll have a structured way of hosting trainings to upskill our fellow entrepreneurs out there. Yeah, so that's basically where we are at the moment.
Okay, no, that's great, and I think that will be much appreciated, because sometimes when you, because we've got multiple challenges that are trying that the country is trying to address, and entrepreneurship is the answer to a lot of them, and I think part of what is needed is just that collaboration between those who have the means to start these businesses and take them off, and the academics who have all these informations and want to uplift this society, and we need to benefit from the information and the research that you have done, like what you have said, so I think that creating a platform like that, yeah. And how do you see the role of digital platforms, like in data analytics, accelerating market uptake of indigenous African ingredients? Like how do you see that improving the space, doctor?
Well, that's quite interesting to ask. So there's a colleague of ours who was actually working on something similar to that. Unfortunately, this person is not hosted in our center, but in our immediate department, the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology, the aim was to have some sort of a digital platform where informal traders in the rural settings basically would have means to sell their produce. Because as it stands, most of these indigenous food crops are not well received in our local communities. It's something that people are acclimatized to, people are used to. It's one of those, but they don't realize the value and the commercial importance, as well as the nutritional aspect of things these materials have. So most of them end up being wasted. For example, the marula fruit. When you go to the northern parts of South Africa and Africa as a whole, there's enormous amounts of marula fruits, but due to the limited life of the fruit, it ends up just rotting on the floor. So having such platforms will enable local or indigenous households to better take advantage of the crops they have in their settings. I think as the era of AI grows, more of the African crops and produce would become prevalent to the international space. Things like your blockchain protecting the produce from potential unscrupulous people in the industry might be very beneficial. Marking the produce from its origin until the intended consumer use becomes very important, which is also good for things like your tracking, which is one of the big things in as far as food safety and food standards is concerned. That's very important. Blockchain is one of the big things that is going to hit the food industry by storm. And of course, AI will also be very beneficial in data gathering and developing models of how to cater for a specific market niche. Let's say for people with compromised nutrition, people that have ailments in their bodies, AI is going to be very instrumental in gathering such data. So there's a big potential in as far as the food industry is concerned.
No, thank you. That's really quite insightful, Doctor. Thank you for that. And I just want to ask if you can briefly just, Madam Victoria, like, have you found while navigating the space any difficulties as far as regulatory and regulatory matters, and how have you navigated those in terms of, getting your product into the shops and all of that type of stuff, and just basically taking a raw material and packaging it for consumption and sale in retail? How have you navigated the regulatory requirements?
Yeah. Like our I'm still growing. My business is not so big. So, but I am trying all my best because I have achieved the certificate of HSSP, the health and safety. So to obtain the relevant safety standards and quality, I am willing to build trust and to gain market, to utilize trade facilitation, to have access to information and tools from body and understanding market specific requirements. What must I have when I wanted to grow?
Okay. And then in terms of like your plan moving forward, I think you've got all the things you need, because that sounds like quality certification. I mean, your production process is in place. And I saw, like, I've tried your coffee. It tastes very good, actually, I must say.
The doctor
I had a
must taste
sachet,
it.
yes. There was sachet I got from the
We get it. Where did we get it?
Biotrade, yes.
I'll be more than willing to try it, because actually I'm not a person that consumes coffee. I tried it once at a conference and I got very sick. So probably yours might be very good.
You and I share that, because I also don't drink coffee, like I said, because of religious reasons. I don't drink, but because this one is decaf, I tried it, and I think I was very impressed. So I think what I'll do is, I'll when I'm close to UJ, maybe on my customer visits, I'll swing past and drop you what I have left. If I can talk when I come to Kuruman or past there or some, Madam Victoria, I'll call you. And then I'll give some to Dr. Mlele.
Yeah. That will be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you. Look, I'd like to just, again, thank you so much for the time that you've spent with us and these insights that you have shared. And I know that will be beneficial to all those who will view this discussion that we've had. And we're going to share it on our YouTube channel, so it's going to reach far and wide. And thank you so much. And we really appreciate all that you're doing, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Marvin. Thank you so much, Ms. CEO.
Okay.